us to pause to seek guidance, please. We will now have reading of the mission statement. To provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs while preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. Now, next is our agenda. Is there any additions or deletions? Hearing none, would someone like to approve the...
I move approval of the agenda as circulated.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Next is the Gales Fundy Pipes and Drums for a presentation. Could I have someone
So moved.
and to come forward? Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. So which one of you is doing the presentation?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just come right up to there and thank you, Mr. Perry.
Board and Gregory councilors, on behalf of the members of the Gales of Fundy Pipes and Drums, I thank you for this opportunity to speak with you tonight. Stuart McDonald isn't here, or is tardy, and I would introduce him as the pipe major and our musical director for the Gales of Fundy Pipes and Drums. I'm Richard Perry. I'm the drum major for the pipes and drums, and my role primarily is dress, deportment, and drill. A brief history, if I may. This all came about approximately 13, 14 months ago. Stuart McDonald arrived from Ontario with his family and was looking to start up a pipe and drum band. And he was in our offices at the town hall speaking with the CAO. And I happened to overhear part of the conversation. I had an opportunity to speak with him and let him know that we had a number of individual pipers in the area that I had used on a number of occasions and a number of functions that I had been involved in. And we also knew that Kevin Ellis was instrumental with the Board of Trade and the Bernsteiners and had some contacts, so I put him in touch with Kevin as well. And Kevin has been a very strong supporter of the Gales of Fundy in our efforts to get this band going. We are the first pipe band in southwest Nova Scotia. The nearest pipe band of note is in CFB Greenwood, 14U Greenwood. And they've been going around in different venues. They've been here in Digby for a number of occasions and a number of parades and stuff, but we are the first homegrown. And we're quite proud of that. As I said, we started this off January of last year with two pipers, one who's with us tonight, Marilyn Wright, and Tommy Gilbert, who's our youngest piper. He's 17. I think I'm probably pretty close to being one of the oldest in the group, but not kind of tied, a couple of us gray hairs in the 60s. And Glenn Foster, who can't be here tonight, was our side drummer. And that was basically the core that started this thing off. And Stuart approached me to see if I had any experience, and because of my youth experience in Army Cadets with a Highland Pipe Band, I decided to go out and have a see as to what was going on. And somebody handed me a practice mace, and from there it's just history. We're having a blast, we're having fun, we're really enjoying ourselves. We, as you can see from our first page, we've been very fortunate as a group to have those people who are sponsoring us. The two Legions, the town of Digby, and through our own efforts, as you can see, by being out in the public, the different venues that we've been performing at, we've been very fortunate in being accepted. And through that acceptance, we've been very fortunate to be able to be here tonight in this dress. This is our full band dress that you see us in. The tartan is the Flower of Scotland card. And through the efforts, contacts that I had, that Stuart had, we were lucky to reach out and become very good friends with a gentleman by the name of Innes Campbell. And Innes runs the Scottish imports, Scottish line imports out of Bedford and out of Massachusetts, New Hampshire. And he basically gave us everything that you see that we're wearing on a handshake. And we still have to pay him back. But that's the crux of that. He's been very supportive to the point where we've actually done halfway meets in order to get gear to do certain performances as we've gone along through this, our endeavors. And we look forward to continuing on and continuing to grow. We're being monitored across the country by pipers and drummers. We have Canada's best known female piper, champion piper, who's keeping tabs on us. Her dad lives in Annapolis, Royal, and she has reached out, and there's a young couple that's going to be coming to Digby area in June, both very accomplished pipers who are anxious to join our group as well. So we continue to grow. And we'd ask you to help us out with that, pass the word. This is free to anybody that wants to come out and partake of the pipes or the drums to learn. It's a simple process. It's a lot of fun. I, as the drill instructor, I'm an old military drill instructor, but we don't do military drill from my perspective with these folks. We walk with style as opposed to marching. That's my favorite line with these guys, to let them know that we're walking with style. The reason we're here is that we'd like to ask you for your support as well. And as you can see from page 3, this is an expensive venture. We don't charge any of these members for their uniform. They pay for that uniform by way of doing their practicing and coming out and performing at venues as we did on the weekend at the Burns Dinner. We were well received, and we did very well out there. And we really enjoyed the performance. As I said, the reason we're here is we'd like to ask you for your support. Anything that you can do for us would certainly be appreciated. As you can see, the cost averages about $1,100 for individual member to be fully kitted. That is irrespective of chanters, practice chanters, reeds, bagpipes. If pretty well buy their own bagpipes, they can be very expensive or inexpensive depending on which way they want to go. eBay has some pretty good buy. And we pass that information along to our members. For the most part, they don't pay for anything other than their bagpipes and their chanters. We provide everything else. Transportation costs, the whole 9 yards is covered by the band through our performances. In the meantime, we still have to pay for this kit. So we're asking for your support to help us out. Again, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak with you tonight. I will introduce the other members of the band. Our newest member, who's just beginning, about 3 weeks old, learning to play, to work with the chanter and learning music, is Larry Black. And beside him is our bass drummer, Mike Beveridge. And beside him is his wife, Maggie Beveridge. Maggie's a bagpiper. She's doing extremely well, and we anticipate within the next 3 to 4 weeks that she should be actually functioning with the band, playing the mass band tunes. And she started with us back in the early summer, I believe. And a very accomplished piper, Marilyn Wright, in her own right. Piper Pun, very accomplished piper, been going through some health issues and will be back with us later on in the spring, we hope. And we have a number of other people who are not with us tonight. Nelson Bishop is a member of our band. He's also a bass drummer, but we prefer to get to a tenor drum. And we've just had a new gentleman join us, very accomplished side drummer with some experience with the military. And Glenn, of course, and our illustrious and fearless leader, Stuart McDonald. You've probably seen him around, you may know him. If you're in the produce section at Superstore, you'll find him. Again, thank you very much for your time, and we appreciate it. And if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
What do you charge for, say, a funeral or wedding or a special dinner? Is it how many people come out, or?
It's based on the number of people. We have, our costs run normally around $50 to $75 per member, depending on the distance involved. If it's within the municipality, the district of Digby, half an hour's drive, something like that, we don't charge any mileage within the district of Digby.
So you don't charge anything, period?
We charge per member.
Okay, but no mileage
Per member,
fee.
Myself, I'm always with the band at the performances.
How often are you called upon to perform? I know you're very new, just curious.
We've already started our schedule for the next year, and we have 3 performances already booked, and I imagine there's going to be a lot more coming. The parades that we do, the Bear River Cherry Carnival, we've already been asked to do the...
And you don't charge for that or anything, do you?
Yes.
You do charge for that?
Yeah, but usually it's sponsored either by the Legions,
Ah,
because of the color parties. They really prefer to march to a pipe and drum band as opposed to a brass band, because the cadence is quite different. The pipe band is a little slower, whereas your brass bands are a lot quicker. And the older folks, as you well know, the Legion is getting older and older, and they prefer to be with the pipe band because it's much easier for them, distance-wise, to be able to march. And they love that, the bass drum and the cadence. So usually it's a Legion that sponsors us, as Bear River did, Weymouth Legion, the Village of Weymouth, and the candidate committee hired us to be there for their parade. The Legion for the Festival de Clare Parade has asked us to be part of their organization this year. We've already got a booking with the Bear River Legion for the commemoration or the dedication of the Veterans Walk.
mm-hmm.
We're going to be there performing. We also have a couple of gift certificates that are out there somewhere for weddings or whatever that we've given away, and or been sponsors for those as well. So we hope to be in more demand as we progress. I must say I've got to thank Jonathan as well, because Jonathan did an excellent article in the Courier on the band, and without that kind of exposure, our name wouldn't be as prominent as it is.
Is there any amount of money specifically that you're looking for?
I'll let you know what the others have done. The town of Digby gave us $1,100,
Okay.
which is basically the sponsorship for one member. And that's what we've been asking the municipalities and the different people that we approach, is if they could sponsor one member's outfit, we'd be more than appreciative of it. As you can see, my outfit is still yet to come. That's why it says looking forward to that fancy guy in the picture with all that regalia on. That is traditionally what a pipe major or drum major wears. But that's in time. It's baby steps.
Now, we would need a financial statement for your last year.
Yep. That's easily done.
And you know this would go forward to this year's request.
Yes. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be here this time last year, but unfortunately, things didn't work out the way they should have worked out, and some communications didn't get made that were supposed to be.
Okay.
So that's why we're here in the preemptive strike, if you will, at this time of year. We recognize that next year's fiscal budget will be looked at, and we hope that you'll consider us.
Okay.
I just want to comment that, I really enjoyed your performance at the Robbie Burns dinner Saturday night.
Thank you.
And I had the opportunity to hear you also at the Remembrance Day service in Bear River this year, which was really special. It adds a lot more to the service. So
Thank
I'm
you.
really glad to see that you guys are getting up and doing this in the community. It really enhances the area a lot for special events.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nobody? All right. Thank you so much.
Again, thank you very much. Working very good. And counselors?
Thank you.
We have the minutes of November the 28th. Oh, gosh, that sounds like a long ways away. Is there any errors or omissions?
I'll move for acceptance of the minutes of November the 28th.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carries. Business arising from the minutes, request funding request for the health center.
This one right here?
No, I'm just, yes. And there was, also showed what the town was doing.
The town changed its mind down to 176,000 because they're going 10.2%.
Right.
Are we gonna go with the percentage?
No, the amount.
Percent, okay. Want me to?
Certainly.
Right here, let's look up the town funding health clinic. What, may I ask a question?
Certainly.
What would 10.4% of our budget be?
Not of our budget,
Oh.
the budget. That's, they're talking of their, of the
Okay.
budget for
So
the
you're
health
saying-
center. Yes, so that's what you're,
Make a motion?
yeah.
I'd move that we give $176,800 to, what was the exact name of the group? To the health clinic, funding to the health clinic.
Okay, is there a seconder? Is there a seconder?
Then you can discuss it. I'll second it.
Okay, discussion. Go ahead.
The other day, it was in the news that Richmond County just received $500,000 from the province in regards to a health clinic. And I would hope that that opportunity would be available to the Digby area as well. I don't know if the request has gone in, but I don't support the motion. I don't feel it's enough, personally. I do know that in the letter it stated that we provide 80% of the population. I don't necessarily agree with that part of it either, because it doesn't take into account that there's a clinic in Weymouth and there's a clinic in Bear River. So the population of those two areas in the municipality are covered by those clinics or those health centers. But I still feel that what's been put forward on the floor isn't adequate, and I don't feel that that's enough money. I really feel that we've bantered this around for quite a while, and the people in the community are really trying hard to provide a health clinic. These people are doing it on a voluntary basis. They see the need for appropriate health care in the community, and the only way we're going to attract new doctors is by providing a new clinic, or at least an enhanced clinic from what we have now. And based on that, I know that what's happened in other areas, I'll say specifically in Clare, they ended up going and building on their own a clinic, and it cost them over $3 million. But right now, it's full of doctors. I know most of those doctors came from Clare, but they were able to attract those people to come back home and work because they provided them with the appropriate workspace.
I think it was a little bit more than just the clinic that got them to come back.
There might have been enhancements or other than that as well, but the clinic's keeping them there. That and the fact that they grew up in the community. But anyway, I can't support that amount of money. I support giving money to a clinic, but that's, to me, I don't believe is enough.
It's your opinion, thank you. Randall?
The $176,800 total is derived from a budget,
Yes.
which is
And that
just a
was-
budget. And while I don't agree with the 80% number coming from the municipality, I do think that the municipality should be at least meeting what the town is offering.
And that's what the town is.
And the town is actually offering 10.4% to a maximum of $250,000. So what the town is saying is if their budget, if they run a little bit over budget, they're going to continue with the same percentage to a maximum of $250,000. And that's the motion that I would like to support. That's why I didn't second this motion. I'm not sure I support it. I would like to support the 10.4% to a maximum of
250.
250,000.
That's up to the mover. and-
I would be glad to change that.
What about seconder? Okay, Maritza, did you want to comment?
I guess my question would be for Linda as to where this is going, how this is going to affect our budget. That is to say, we give them 176, or up to 250,000. Is it going to have to be in a lump sum, like initial, or can it be spread out over a couple of years? Have you got any sense of that, or?
Well, it's certainly up to council how they would, if they want to spread it out over a couple of years. Where the money would come from, I think would have to be from reserves. It wouldn't be coming out of an operating budget unless it's something that council requested that's the way, where it would come from. Having said that, when you take money out of reserves, you always have to try to replace it, or it's one less thing that, something else that doesn't get funded from reserves. It's whatever decision council makes, I think it certainly would be on the understanding or on the condition that all, the provincial government comes on board as well, or that other, all the other funding is in place.
I would hope so.
So that leads me to, another question is, the reason we were holding back is because we couldn't get a letter from them saying we wouldn't be on the hook for operating down the road. Are we going to?
Yes, we're
attach-
going to be on the hook probably.
Are we going to attach that again, or are we just going to leave it?
I would hope we'd put it in that we're not looking at sponsoring
Is that the way
operating
that-
costs. That should come from from the people that are renting.
Isn't that how the town put theirs in? There was no stipulation?
No.
No.
Oh.
Not
I think the
this
wording
one.
that, if I recall, and it's been a while, that the wording was, these were for capital costs only, and that the town would have no ownership or responsibility.
I-
Go
One
ahead.
more thing, and then I'm done. I support this because I feel that it's good for our communities, and there are a lot of people that need doctors and haven't got a doctor at the moment, and I think that if hopefully we build it, they will come.
Okay, so the motion is that we would do
176,800 up to 250,000.
50,000 based on 10.4% of the budget for the health center.
Based on, that's the budget for the health center, it's not their
Yes.
overall
No, no,
budget?
that's based-
Oh, okay, yep. And would I add to the motion conditional on the other funding coming
Yes.
into place?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to,
Randall?
I would also like to include the statement that the municipality will not be responsible for any operating.
We can do that in the next,
Deficits.
in the next, we want to add that in this, we'll put it on the next.
I don't know, I don't want to make it conditional, I guess, but I want
No,
it
no, but we
stated that the
can-
Stated in
municipality.
the letter, we can do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll put it on so it's stated in the letter that we're not going to be responsible.
Good.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Contrary minded?
Nay. Nay.
Motion carried. Next, Counselor Amiro, do you have any old business?
No.
Counselor Adams?
Can I just ask a question about, okay.
Counselor Tudor?
Nope.
Deputy Warden?
No.
And Warden, no. Next is new business, the banking and borrowing resolution. You saw that the municipality of the District of Digby, that we're asking for the banking resolution that we have to do each year, isn't it, Linda? Or is it every?
The borrowing resolution is a resolution that's required from the bank every year.
Yes.
And the banking resolution actually is just to update the banking records for the current signing officers.
Okay.
I'd like to move that we accept the borrowing resolution as presented.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Digby Area Tourism Association funding request.
I'd like to make a motion to put this forward to our budget process.
Mhm.
I'd like to second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
I think they do plan to make a presentation to council in the near future.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's not really a lot. They're not asking for so much in the line of specifics.
The next is the CAO report. There was nothing for decision or direction. The meeting dates, just to remind you of January 30th at 6 PM, bylaw and policy. February 6th, 5 PM will be legislative transportation. February 6th, 6 PM, bylaw and policy. February 13th, committee of the whole at 6 PM. February 20th, bylaw and policy. And February 27th, council. Updates for the previous meetings are all there. Any questions on that?
One thing I did want to add to that, that's come about since I prepared the report, is that the UARB hearing they have approved the change into the schedule to allow King's Transit to go downtown. So we're, Tom Ossinger and I are meeting with Ron Mullins on January 30th. But we're looking at the bus starting hopefully February 6th.
Oh,
For the first time it starts downtown.
that would be nice.
Just a comment, I see our ridership went up quite a bit.
Yeah, doubled.
Period of time. I wonder if that's gonna hold for a while. You know, like, hopefully we've attracted new people to ride the bus.
It was nice seeing people riding the bus.
Yeah, the numbers they're suggesting, even if a handful of those, say 10% of that increased ridership stuck with it, it was certainly well spent money.
Oh, yeah,
Like, very well spent.
I agree. Okay, if there's nothing else from the CAO report,
I have one question.
yes?
In regards to our solid waste transfer station,
Mhm.
what's the status on that? We're gonna be able to haul our solid waste from there right to Milton, or have it picked up from there, I should say?
We're working on that. We've submitted a permit application to the Department of Environment, and I understand that that should be forthcoming early in February.
Okay.
There's, I think, one of the requirements is that we have to install a monitoring well,
Mhm.
in order just to keep,
For leachate
for
control?
leachate control.
Okay.
But that we won't have to modify the building by putting in any drains or anything like that. And then I've been working with Queens County so that they can, to let them know of the change in location, and they're gonna work out with their contract, with their hauler
Mhm. Okay,
to pick up here in Digby. So hopefully by the 1st or 2nd week of February.
all right, great. It makes more sense to have it picked up here than for us to have to truck it all the way down to Matagan, and then have it dropped on their tipping floor,
Yeah.
and then reloaded in the trailer and hauled right back by our door again, so.
We'll be able to compact it down so that they have the amount they need for each truckload.
And that's the other thing, Simon is working with our hauler just to look at different options for compaction. So there may be some additional costs associated with that, but yeah, the key is to get as much garbage in the truck as possible, and you do that through compaction.
Okay. Would someone like to move the acceptance of the CAO report?
So moved.
Seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Correspondence, there's a copy of the letter to UNSM from the town of Studiac, memorandum of understanding. Oh, I'm sorry, Randall.
We have to do the payables.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. That's why I looked back and I said that. Would someone like to so move the payables for December of 2011?
I move approval of the payables for December 2011 in the amount of $267,099.83.
Seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. financial report of November 30th, 2011. We don't need a motion for that, do we?
Well, might not be a bad idea. A
We have a motion to accept the financial report.
So,
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. I do apologize, correspondence. We have the Nova Scotia Tourism Occupancy Report, news from Nova Scotia Trails as well. No questions on correspondence?
The Nova Scotia Tourism Occupancy Report, it's nice to see that the shoulder season, especially in the fall, is starting to,
Pick up.
pick up significantly. You know, it still drops off big time in October, but it used to drop off when school started. So that's a nice development over the years.
I had a question.
Yes.
for that. I looked at the list and I didn't see the Goodwin on here. Is it still open, the Goodwin Hotel?
Yep.
Yes.
I didn't see Briar Lodge
I'm
on there.
surprised that they weren't listed there.
I noticed a few hotels missing from it, actually.
Like he said, he
The
didn't see
good one.
Bar Island Lodge either.
Definitely still open.
It doesn't, I don't know why they're not there, but the other thing too, that I noted from this, and I'm glad that we were able to receive this report, because I don't recall us getting this detailed report before. But it's very interesting to see how, the occupancy rate in July was 62.5%, but yet in August it dropped down to 44.6. That doesn't make sense.
Less people around?
Huh?
Less people around.
Well, I know, but I didn't realize that August dropped off that much, and
it's only 4 for a
Lord,
No,
I
that's
realized
September.
September, which is 39.1, but anyway, it's
We had a lot of bad weather in August.
well,
Down where I am, at least, if it's bad weather, you're getting 1/4 the amount of people that you would have on a sunny day. It's less than a third. It's an amazing difference.
but by looking at the numbers, it shows that the occupancy rate isn't very high for our area, and I don't know, it doesn't give us information on how much it dropped from the year before, so that would be interesting to know.
I'm not sure of all of the properties, the ones that you mentioned that aren't on the list, if this is a voluntary reporting, or something that they have to report to the Department of Tourism.
I don't know.
Is there any way we could write back and ask for the last couple of years, or?
It's the first time we've ever had this detailed report. I think it's a first.
Oh, you think it's really a first?
Yeah, this detailed.
You would think this would be going back 20 years, something like this.
I'm just impressed that they did it. You know, we've had statistics, but not like this. Okay, yes?
I just wanted to speak on one other thing there. The letter from the town of Stuyak
Yes?
in regards to the MOU.
Mm-hmm.
I have a meeting with the Premier tomorrow afternoon, and that issue is actually going to be raised at that time, so I'm going to talk to him about that, so I'll give you an update when we meet again.
Thank you.
And there will be a letter going out to everybody on it.
Okay. From Committee of the Whole, we need a motion for the appointment of Thomas Haynes Payton to RCMP Police Advisory Committee.
So moved.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. From the Bylaw and Policy Committee, approval of purchase of a 5-kilowatt wind turbine for $42,000 plus HST.
I so move that we purchased 5-kilowatt wind turbine for $42,000
Plus.
plus HST.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Now I would like approval of the Manager of Corporate Services job description, please.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next is the advisory committees. The Digby Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, Counselor Adams, there's been no meeting since the last report.
No,
Nothing.
we were to meet January 12th, but of course we had that storm, and it's been postponed to February the 16th.
Okay. Heritage Advisory Committee, Counselor Adams, Counselor Miro, December 2011 minutes.
Yeah, the minutes are there. We had a very nice supper meeting at Changing Tides of Bear River. A new
Excuse me.
member, and she was giving us an orientation. And there's a date for the courier digitization in April.
April what, do you know?
Wednesday, April 4th at 1 PM here in the municipal building.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Planning Advisory Committee, Warden Gregory, Counselor Adams, Counselor Tudor. There's been no meeting since the last report, and there's none scheduled.
I actually spoke with Chris Millier today, and we're looking at maybe the second week in February, but I wanted to talk to you on dates.
Okay.
Because I know you're away
The first week.
in February.
So Chris is okay now?
He's mobile.
Yeah, the reason the meeting was postponed, Chris, I don't know if he broke his ankle or his leg, something that wasn't supposed to have happened.
Speaking about Chris, I just wanted to bring it attention, maybe you know, but you're aware that Ridge Hills passed away?
Yeah, we sent him down
Okay. Card?
a card.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. He had a nice obituary
Yeah,
in the paper.
read it.
All right, the Police Advisory Committee. The meeting is scheduled for January the 24th, and that's myself, Counselor Adams, and Counselor Amira.
What time on the 24th is that?
6 PM.
Okay, thank you.
The Remo Advisory Committee, Warden Gregory and Deputy Warden McAlpine. There was a meeting, but there wasn't enough to attend, and they were looking at doing another meeting, and I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, they got another meeting scheduled.
For 2 o'clock, I had to send no.
For the next one.
Yeah, it's in the first week of February on the non-law.
Yeah, I believe I'm gonna be able to make that one.
But if they're gonna do them at 2 o'clock in the afternoon,
Well, that's something that we briefly discussed at that meeting, the chair to maybe consider is if this is something new for us getting informed, or not getting informed, so we might want to look at adjusting the times of those to meet everybody's schedule a little better.
well, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, my answer's always gonna be no.
Okay.
For that meeting though, keep it that way if you can, because I've already booked another meeting for after it,
Yeah.
so.
Just one thing, the only thing to add for the EMO is that the JEP approval did come in for the Westport Natures. And the upgrades of the Westport communications.
So we're not gonna get it.
No, the JEP did get approved.
Oh, good.
I thought
Oh.
you said didn't.
They did get their
Oh.
approval, I'm sorry.
I was thinking, oh, no. Okay, that's great.
So that's awesome. So they should be getting that now, the approvals? Is the money come right away, or does it wait a couple months?
It takes a while.
Takes a while for the money to trickle down.
No,
That's
well,
all
I
it's
can be optimistic, though.
It's happening. The next is the Western Regional Housing Authority, and that's our Fitzgerald. He was reported in September. He reports on a quarterly basis. That will be coming probably in February,
If they've had meetings.
if they've had a meeting. Next is the Airport Working Group, Deputy Warden McAlpine and Counselor Adams. There's been no meeting since the last report.
No.
Any scheduled or upcoming or anything?
I just received notice today that COA has approved the final signatures on the money for the residential flying development, or the residential flying. So part of that will be to schedule a working group meeting to meet with the consultant in the near future, so.
That's
something should be
great.
going on this week.
Annapolis Digby Economic Development Agency, Counselor Ramiro, board meets in February, which you were just,
Yes, the board meets in February, but the last 2 months, the board has been meeting on a more regular basis, not as an official board meeting, but to do strategic planning and come up with, help Adita develop a business plan, and that has moved along very well. We're meeting again the 25th, Wednesday night, and to try to pull it all together. And just another note on that is, at our last strategic plan, business planning meeting, we did hold a very brief board meeting to elect a new chair, because if you remember, the old chair had stepped down. And the new chair is a counselor from Annapolis Royal. His first name's Holger, and I guess I apologize to him, but I don't know his last name.
Holger?
But Holger, yeah. And he is
He's the
the,
deputy mayor.
is he? Well, he's the new chair of Adita.
I think
Holger,
Spenslinger.
Stattenberg or something.
yeah.
So he was elected as the new chair for Adita, so, and I'm still serving as vice chair.
Okay, next is the Bay of Fundy Marine Transportation Association. I sent around the minutes of December of 2011. We also had a meeting with Greg Kerr and had another, which lasted over 2 hours, which I was really pleased with Greg for having the time to come and speak to us. So we're working hard. Our chair, Mr. Thurber, and our secretary were going to Halifax and meeting with some ministers from this other meeting. So it's all coming along, and when I have more to report, I will send you the minutes and keep you updated. But right now, it's sort of in a, you can't say a lot because it's just, we're still working on it. We know we need a new ferry. Digby Annapolis Development Corporation, Deputy Warden Amaro, McAlpine and Councilor Amaro, minutes of September 2011.
We met on December the 7th, I believe. And I know there's been a lot of speculation in the community that we've got a call center coming to our new building. I wish that was true, but right now, we don't have any news about that for the DADC. But at that meeting, we did discuss the future of the property, not just the call center building, but also the RDA building. And there was going to be a request for proposal sent out to different real estate agencies in the community to look at listing both properties. We're still ongoing trying to market the call center by leasing it, but we're also going to look at seeing if we can sell it.
Mhm.
Because it's costing a lot of money to sit there vacant. And,
Oh, definitely.
you know, hopefully,
But the RDA building too?
yes, both of them. So, they're both going up for sale.
Oh, okay.
But that's what the committee had decided to do with both properties, look at trying to sell them. The RDA actually could work out of a smaller property, or smaller building. They are renting space in that building, but it costs a lot of money to keep those buildings going. That's an old building, it's got an old heating system. We talked about the cost of operating it, and the engineers from Annapolis County have looked the building over. And Phil, Randall, you can come in anytime, because if I'm missing anything.
No, you're doing good.
But in regards to that meeting, that was the discussion. There was one company that had looked at the call center building. It wasn't a firm, no commitments or nothing, they just came and looked.
I think
And
there were two companies,
Yeah.
I think, who had expressed interest in it, so. The reports that there were companies expressing interest in the building were true, but nothing has certainly been finalized or anything.
No. So that's what
Mhm.
the status of that meeting was.
Very good. Digby Area Learning Association, Counselor Adams.
We're having a meeting January the 25th. The last meeting was the last of November, which I was unable to attend. They had an AGM at that time, and I am now vice chair for Dala.
Are we going to get the minutes?
Usually she sends them over, so I will ask her on Wednesday why she hasn't, because she's been pretty good about doing it, sharing, but sending us the minutes. Haven't gotten anything.
But,
We haven't had
okay,
minutes
but
for a
if she'd
long
send them to you, then you send them on to Karen, would
Yeah.
be great.
Okay, I will mention it to her.
Digby Area Tour, and congratulations on being the VP. Digby Area Tourism Association, Counselor Tudor, the Bay of Fundy Experience Center Advisory Group December minutes are there. Do you have anything that you would like to bring forward?
We've had some new blood. It's nice to see how enthusiastic everybody is when they start off, and hopefully they'll stay enthusiastic. It's very nice to see. We've been with the Digby Area Tourism Association trying to define goals and our objectives. We have some new members, like I mentioned, and working on plans to revitalize the board. Also, we have the Bay of Fundy Experience Center Advisory Group Association.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Yeah, no, I got it right. Dean Kenley and Diane Terrio are our co-chairs, and I love how it's they're really reaching out to the community and different industries and cultural groups to get this done, and it's certainly a massive project, and they're certainly shooting for the stars, but good, wonderful. I'm very hopeful with both the data and the Bay of Fundy Experience Center Advisory Working Group.
Okay. The next is Digby Area Recreation Commission, myself and Counselor Tudor. Minutes of October, there should have been minutes of November. Recreation reports are there for November, and letter remotorized use of trails. We just had a meeting
Just a couple days ago.
not that long ago. And our next meeting is February the 15th, where we're going to have a public meeting at 7.
A public cafe, they called it.
All right, a public cafe, sorry, I still call it a meeting. Which we're going to be talking to people about recreation. We lost, the day of the storm, we lost money because we had people that were skating that we had to cancel. I mean, it's not worth someone getting killed on the roads for that. But we've had good skating. Our skating is way up. We really feel it's through to the free.
A lot of new faces, he said, as well.
Oh, it's wonderful. And, you know, like, and over Christmas time, they had a lot. So, I mean, getting people out and into the area means a lot. Yes.
Just that I know that Barton, the whole school went skating on Friday.
Mhm.
They all had skates. There was one little guy who didn't have it,
Oh.
and went to Bethany Place and found a pair of skates, and everybody had skates.
We have, if they have any left, they, like, I know I went over different times, I've been to a yard sale, and I'll say to them, what do you want for your skates? And they'll say, you want to buy them? And I'll say, well, yeah, because I'm going to take them up
Yeah.
to the rink.
For swap.
And some people will give them to me, some people sell them to me, I don't care, but it helps. And like, I got a men's pair a while ago, and I took them up, and they said, oh yeah, we have kids that come in that have got men's size feet. So,
Yeah.
and plus, they said there are adults, you know, that come in that don't have skates.
I get a lot of stuff for the Boston Club that way, people at yard sales, it's awesome.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Big help.
it makes a big difference. We have had any major problems at all. There has been some problems though with our alarm system. So Danny's been out most mornings at 5 a.m. They're trying to figure out why, and it's being taken care of. We have yoga, chair yoga, cardio fitness, and Zumba Gold have all started up. The Kids in Motion after-school programs are starting again in Barton, Weymouth, and the islands, as well as Digby. And the Spiral Back to skating programs are continuing. We're looking at having a possibility of the skate park being as part of our parking lot down by the swimming area, because it's not used. so it could be used there for that, but that's still being looked at. We have sent an application in under the Nova Scotia Economic and Rural Development Program for summer students, and we've sent an application to Heritage Canada for funding for Canada Day celebrations. And of course, as I said, we're planning the World Cafe. And Hugh Sproul and Bob Hansbiker has been great assets in helping with that. I'm going to skip for a second, just tell you that the Digby Area Minor Hockey is hosting two tournaments, February 10th to the 12th and February 17th to the 19th. We're also having the 12th annual IP Novus Tim Hortons Fair Play Jamboree on Saturday, January 28th, and there will be no public skating that day. There was a fire inspection done with no trouble, and then the boiler inspection was completed also with no problems. So that is what I can tell you, update. I will make sure that you get the November and December minutes. I don't know what happened there.
So I could plug in for an activity at the rink also.
Yes.
There's a fundraiser for the high school hockey team by the 1970s high school team Rockets Royals. Deputy Warden McAlpine and myself will, God willing, be participating in that. And,
It's for the old people.
it's for the senior hockey players. So
The old
if
people.
anybody wants to see probably one of the better demonstrations of hockey in the area.
And you can hold up with the hockey stick, right?
And the reception after curling club for autographs and anything else.
Nice. What is the date of that?
February the 5th.
And at
1
what,
o'clock.
at what time?
1 o'clock.
It's a fundraiser for the high school team.
At 1 o'clock. Oh, I'm not here.
$4 admission.
You'll be gone that weekend.
I'll be gone. I'm in there, but I'll give you a donation.
That'd be nice, thank you.
No, I can't be there. I can at least be in spirit. And then make somebody else go too. I'll be upfront with you. What I don't mind watching anything, but I'd rather watch it from my room where it's warm.
There's a
nice
warm room
propane
upstairs.
heaters there, yeah. That tuning shot.
Oh, I know, and even with blankets, but it's cold.
I got
I
boxing on
never
that
heard of
day.
this, of rinks being cold like that. But no, that's actually great. I think that's a great thing to be doing. So, and will you be going against the Digby High School?
Yeah.
Well,
Good luck.
I'm sure when Maritza comes, she will let me know who won.
Like who survived.
I have to send you.
That sounds like you don't think it's going to be this late over here. The next is the Digby Harbor Port Association. You have the December meeting. We just met. We're still, actually, they have been working diligently on the wharf with some monies. We're waiting for monies coming in from the storm through the emergency measures. The big thing that, and we're going to see about having a, putting it in the newsletter that we have, also maybe getting it in the paper, about the money we've taken in and how we have spent it, because it's all gone back to the wharf. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, we have to, of course, have a manager, but I mean, it goes back, and we're slowly fixing up, but we still need another $11 million. If you know of anyone offering, we will accept. Okay. Those minutes will be coming for the next meeting. Next is the Digby Library Committee, Deputy Warden McAlpine. There's been no meetings since the last report.
No, there hasn't. But can I ask?
I was gonna say, did you want to talk about what's going on? Aren't they doing some renovations or something?
Well,
That's the province,
Robin's
been
doing
doing
some work to
renovations on the roof,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
never ending renovations on the roof.
I just have a question for the CAO in
Okay.
regards to it, though. Have we heard any more back on our canopy?
No, and actually, I just
Made
wrote
a
myself
note.
a note to,
Talk to Tom.
I thought that was what they were trying to fix over there too, but no.
no,
Because you
We,
have to take your life in your hands to cross over everything.
well, when that new canopy was put on the building, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not an expert in it, but by looking at what they did, it wasn't put on properly. The first big windstorm we had, it blew it off. And if you look at how they mounted it under the building, and based on the documentation that we were given, they were supposed to drill into the brick and put the anchors into the brick. They
Mhm.
didn't do that. They drilled into the mortar and put the anchors in the mortar, which can break away.
Mhm.
Anyway, to make it wasn't done, as far as I'm concerned, properly. It wasn't done to the specs, it was done on the sheet, so, CAO from the town of Digby was gonna be, contacting them and talking to them about it, and I haven't heard any more since. But
Okay. The next is the Digby Municipal Fire Association, Councilor Tudor.
I got a phone call, we have a meeting on Wednesday at 7:30, and, we've got a.
Is that up here?
Oh, shoot, I don't have it written down right here in
okay.
front of me,
Sorry.
where it was, no, Digby, I remember now, Digby Fire Hall.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've got some financials and equipment records and stuff to go over, and some things to discuss going forward with them gentlemen.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to it. Should be a fairly important meeting.
All right, Industrial Commission, Deputy Warden McAlpine, Councilor Miro, minutes of October 2011, but I think you've had some meetings since then?
We met last week on January the 18th, and at that meeting, we had a presentation from Dana Moore from the Fundy Title Incorporated, and he gave us an overview of where they are right at the present time. They were the first ones to receive, for this area, successful application for ComFit, and they were given a 1.95 megawatt project for out here in the Digby Gut that they're going to be working on. They've also got two sites, one in Petit Passage and one in Grand Passage, that's 500 kilowatts each that they're looking at trying to go forward with. But we had a good meeting with them. There's a commitment from him and us to meet on a more regular basis, so we know we can be kept up to speed on how his project's going forward. So I think every couple months or so, he's going to come to the Industrial Commission to give us an update. It was interesting to hear him speak on where they're going and what they're trying to do. They've got a lot of interest from different companies that want to put turbines in the water. I think he had 12 or 13 different companies that want to have them tested. And so he's going to be working through that. And actually there's a company coming in here, I think it's coming up right soon, that's is one of the ones that he's going to be talking to about putting a test turbine in the water. No, I thought it was a good meeting with him. And then also at that meeting, we discussed the lack of the grid capacity in this area and what options do we have. And Terry, our renewable energies officer, has come up with some information on smart grid, and he sent it to, well, I got a copy of it. Randall, did you get it yet? We'll be discussing that at the next Industrial Commission meeting as well. I've still got to read about it. I've got to get it in my head what it is, what it means. But it may be a way of still going forward with some projects, but doing it a different way. So once I get more information on it, I'll share that. But also, let me think, what else was there? Was there anything else on there?
Anything else around it?
No, that about covers it.
Yeah, those were the two main things that we talked about.
It was a good meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, King's Transit Authority, Councilor Amiro, December 2011 Ridership and Revenue Report was submitted to us, which everyone was
Okay.
pleased about.
Kind of stole my thunder a little earlier.
course.
but-
All right.
As you noticed, the ridership did greatly increase. I think if it didn't double, it was very close. I can't remember. Yeah, for the month of December. And I guess when we decided to do the promotion in December, we were of the opinion that it would increase the ridership, but when you do something like that, you're never quite sure. So it was really nice to see that promotion actually turn into solid numbers, and that
Success.
we did get a lot more people riding the bus and exposed to the bus, and hopefully some of that will carry forward, that people know the bus is there and they know that it's usable. It was good news, I think.
I do too.
Were the prize winners announced?
The surveys aren't.
Oh, that's right, to the end of the month.
Right.
How were the
Right.
surveys? I remember them, oh, sorry. How were the surveys? I remember they were saying they were getting some back.
I'm not sure how many surveys. We have a King's Transit meeting Wednesday night, this coming Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm not sure how they're doing
I
with the
I haven't
surveys.
seen too many, so I don't know.
Okay. The next is Medic. The minutes of September and October are there. We have a meeting coming up at the end of February. Yeah, February, that I will be attending. We don't meet every month. The one thing we do have is Dr. Medek, and I'm probably mispronouncing her name, but she has come to us. She was here to the Digby Pines from Dalhousie, and she liked it so well. She's come back to see what it's like here. She originally was only going to stay to January. Now she's staying until March. She's also going to be doing 1 day a week out at the Bear River Clinic from noon till 7 p.m. so that people, there's people out there that can't get away from jobs, or they lose money for leaving their job. They don't get paid while they're gone, and it's financial hardship. And so she felt that that was one way to help, is going from noon till 7. And that's a walk-in clinic.
Applied the food, and that he has received a certificate of appreciation from Senior Safety.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, and they had a great turnout, and they also had, I think, one of the physiotherapists or someone that also came on her own time. Excuse me. They have had the senior days at the curling club, but they've stopped that for the winter, but they will be starting up again.
We start up again in March.
Excuse me. They also had a workshop with Ned Chase on power of attorney, and I believe they had 50 people one day and 70 the other, and it was a great response to that as well. And that's it.
You okay?
Yeah.
Transport declare, Councilor Romero.
Transport Declare hasn't met since our last meeting.
Okay. Did you want to mention how they are giving free to the Barton School?
Oh, okay, sure.
Go ahead.
For the, it's transportation to the school board meeting, I think, isn't it? For the Barton School, the Transport Declare has volunteered to send a bus. They're a 18-passenger bus to transport people from the Barton School to the meeting and back. So anyone who doesn't have a way of transportation to get to that meeting but would like to go, they just contact Councilor Adams or Transport
The
Declare.
school.
Or the school.
They've already had, I think, 13 or 14 responses, so
Good.
that's good. So we
Good.
should
That
fill
is
one
good.
bus,
Yeah.
at least.
And Transport Declare has also said that if there's too many people for the 18-passenger bus, they'll handle the overload too. They'll send another vehicle.
That's great.
Thank you.
It's very, very good of them.
Yes, and isn't it no charge?
At no charge at all to the municipality.
And they did the same for Weymouth.
Yes.
They didn't go,
No, but they
But
offered
King's
to,
Transit. didn't.
they offered to take the overflow,
Yeah.
which there wasn't any, unfortunately.
the next is Tideview Terrace, Warden Gregory, Councilor Romero, and Councilor Tudor. We actually meet on Wednesday. I will say that there is going to be on Saturday an auction from the old Tideview. If you need to know more, it's on Pigeon Auction, and I don't know if it's .ca, I just know it's Pigeon Auction. It will be in the Digby Courier, I believe, this week. And so if anyone's interested in that,
What time's that meeting?
what our tiding meeting,
Yeah.
5:30.
5:30.
Is there much left?
I had
Because
that
we know
written
that
down.
has
Where I
really
wrote it down.
option, or,
I would have no idea.
I know that was quite soon after we moved.
Yeah. But
At first read.
I'm sure there must be quite a bit there, or they would, it's an auction house that's doing it. Councilor Miro, Councilor Tudor, do you want to comment anything on Tyview? Okay.
I've been enjoying my time on there, and I've actually was speaking to a couple of residents, and there's definitely a couple things that they told me that they'd like to see happen, so I'm looking forward to the whole situation, checking it out.
All right. Upper Clements Park, Councilor Amiro.
Upper Clements Park Society met last Thursday night. The main thing on the agenda is the adventure park, the new adventure park that's going across the road from the theme park. The work has been started on that, the clearing for the land and everything. As soon as the weather, I guess the weather has been fit, but as soon as, in the spring, provided the weather's fit, the next phase, or I guess the first phase of construction is going to start on actually putting up the zip lines, and they're still hopeful to have the adventure park in operation for this season, so it's looking
great.
really good.
Yes, Councilor?
I'm just curious that these zip lines, never been on one. How long are they? I just want to see if it's worth heading up there and bringing a bunch of the kids or something from the Boston Club for an afternoon in the summer or something.
I can't answer the exact length, although I have seen all of the plans, but.
Is
I
it
can-
scary?
I can say it's significant. I'll be really comfortable watching it from the ground.
Oh, okay. I just want to know if it's scary or not. I'm
It's,
hoping it is.
It is.
It's very significant. It's gonna be a large adventure park, and it's going to be right up there with any adventure parks in the country. And
Wonderful.
possibly even North America, like it is state of the art. It's gonna be a nice park.
Oh, I'm excited.
Thank you very much. Next is, oh, I'm sorry.
Can I just ask, have
Certainly.
you seen stats on how they did last summer or the last season?
Yes, the numbers have all came in. They didn't do poorly, which is good, because they were rained out, I think, 9 days, and
Yeah.
of those 9 days, something like 5 of them were Saturdays, which is the worst possible day. The fact that Labor Day was later in September, I think they had 6 days in September before closing on Labor Day weekend, that helped significantly, and there was good weather for those days in September, and that kind of brought the numbers back up. So the theme park didn't lose money, but it didn't make a whole lot. It had overall a fair season.
Excellent. Any other questions? Okay, next is waste check. Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine. There's been no meeting since the last report. Next meeting is February 13th. Did you want to comment on anything?
Really, no. I mean, earlier I brought up about our transfer station.
Mhm.
And outside of that, I don't think there's much else to speak on right now.
Okay. The next is the Western Counties Regional Library, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
There hasn't been a meeting.
Mhm.
I called down to the library actually the other day to see when the next meeting's scheduled. They haven't said it yet, but they just had a meeting, the executive for the library for the Nova Scotia. They just had a meeting with the minister, and they were hoping to have more information on how much funding they're going to have. So they're going to be setting a meeting date soon. As soon as they set the date, I'm going to be informed about it.
Okay. The next is council activity reports and other committees. Councilor Amiro.
Okay, I think it was January 6th, I had wrote my other book. I attended the first announcements for the COMFIT program, which, as we mentioned earlier, Fundy Title Inc. was a successful candidate. They were awarded a project under the COMFIT. I attended that announcement and gave a brief address on behalf of council. And on September, yes. wait a minute. On January the 17th, I attended a meeting with the Minister of Service Nova Scotia and Municipal Affairs, and who was also the Minister of Agriculture here at the municipal office to go over some concerns and some issues and thoughts with the minister.
Counselor Adams.
On December 2nd, I attended the tree lighting here at the municipal building. The January 1st, we had our first New Year's Day levy here, which I think went over quite well, successful. I also attended that meeting with the minister, and on January let's say 19th, we had our first age-friendly community meeting. We had, Jacqueline was unable to leave the city, so we had a teleconferencing meeting, and I think it went quite well. We had Danny Orview and Matthew Raymond from the town, and Linda Fraser and myself from the municipality, and Don Thomas was there from Senior Safety. We spent the 2 hours, I think it was really constructive. The first part, we just sort of talked about where it is we wanted to go, what we needed to do at that meeting, and we came up with the list of community members that each of us are going to approach to sit on the advisory committee. We looked at the 8 domains from the age-friendly community from the proposal, and I think we found some very good people if they're willing to serve. Some of them overlap or call for several domains, like a domain would be like transportation, active learning, recreation, housing. So there were a lot of people that we thought actually fit into 2 or 3 of those domains, so they would be an asset. And we came up with Linda Fraser's written an advertisement that will go out. Hopefully she's written up parameters of what would be their responsibilities if they sat on the advisory committee. And when we go to speak to these people, we will present them with that so that they can have an idea of what it is we're asking of them. And we're meeting again on down here, February 16th, and then again early in March as well. And the first phase of the age-friendly community project would be to get the advisory committee established, to elect a chair, and then to have at Dalhousie they have a program for aging. And those people are going to come down, and then we're going to have focus groups, and the focus groups will provide the people from the Mount with some material, and they're going to go back and first stats and things like that. They're going to write a report, and then that's sort of, I think, pretty well what phase 1. Jump in anytime.
No,
that's pretty well phase 1, and then phase 2 will be after we have the information back from them and from the Department of Seniors that we apply for some grant money and start working on doing some things to make our community age-friendly.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. It was very, I mean, the 2 hours went really quickly, and I thought it was very constructive. I thought everybody had good ideas, and like I said, we came up with quite a long list of, I think, really good community members that hopefully will agree to sit on it.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, Counselor Tudor.
Been to Fundy Title Inc. meetings on the island. I wasn't able to make the one up here. I had something else come up. But I did get a chance to talk to them. I'm also going to go up for their next presentation at Claire, just to get the whole one. The Kids in Motion program is going to be starting up at the school, which is pretty awesome. And I heard from wonderful news, the Westport breastwork is up for tender. That's been a long time coming, and I'm really glad that it's coming down the line. And the Tiverton job that they did has been fantastic. I went down on the first big storm, and I sat there for an hour and a half and watched the waves hit it, and it was better than anyone expected. I got a lot of, oh, it's not going to work. but in the end, it worked out wonderful. The ferries, I've interviewed at least 25 people about the poor state of the ferries. I have one last interview that's quite important that I just made a thing for today for Wednesday. Gotten lots of letters, photos, even past operating expenditures that's coming along. Hopefully I'm going to send it on to the Minister of Transportation. Hopefully he'll come down for the invite, and if not, I'd be glad to head up there. The road on Max Point was washed out a bit. Me and a friend just shoveled it, the worst bit, so they could get back across. There was an elderly lady who was moving, and it was causing her some trouble, and it wasn't enough time really to call the Department of Transportation. It was right at that moment. Billy Buckman, of course, got his scooter. He loves it. Apparently, he calls it the Tudor scooter, which is kind of funny, I think. Bob Powell's going to be coming down from the Digby Area Recreation Committee after the new year for looking into the swimming pool. I've also had a community member come to me and suggest that there's a lovely swimming hole that he'd be glad to give us to lease out, so I'm gonna investigate that. Like I said, there's great developments for the tidal power, getting the confit, funding Tidal Incorporated. Digby Recreation was looking for $500 for hockey equipment. They're trying to get a little outdoor rink down there. It's getting near the end, so hopefully they'll get it done in time. Got us a nice Christmas tree. Went out with a local youngster. He gave me a hand. We had a huge turnout. I'd say a third of the island came for the Christmas tree lighting, which was really nice. And people played guitar, and I called the minister, asked what hymns he'd like to have sung and whatnot, and it went over really well. And that was quite nice. I was happy to help Santa at the school. Santa was appreciative. So were the kids. There was a plate to the ferrymen. They were cooperative. They found a solution right away. Same thing, there was a call for an oil leak. They just wanted to know about the testing, found out. Lights repaired, Scotia flags for the schools, the JEP grant, which is just wonderful. It might not get us the Rolls Royce of pager systems, but it'll certainly get us a nice Volvo. So that's wonderful. That's been a long time coming, and it's great to see that happen. The Friends of the Islands Trails Societies up and going. It's nice to see the leadership from the community come together, and a special thanks to lovely Gordon over there and his hard work. What else here? Out-serve dinner to the residents in the Tide View. I've gotten lots of letters of complaint about the roads and whatnot. And just yesterday, going to a fundraiser for a local gentleman for an oxygen condenser. Is that what it's called? Compressor.
Compressor.
An oxygen compressor. We raised $2,600. We were looking into buying something that we straight out, but I recently heard that might be a lot more economical to go through a rental agency, and they also supply upkeep. So I called today and left a message, but they weren't there. They didn't have time to get back to me. Also, I'll be working on grants for people, for provincial grants and things if their houses are bothering them, and if anybody on the islands needs anything, give me a call. I'll be over, and there's a few people I know about, and I'll show up, whether or not they want to deal with me. And also, I've been giving away wood and deer meat to people that need it, so that's been all right. Everybody's always happy for some deer meat, and everybody's always happy for some wood. So, between those two things. Oh, I've been busy as a bee. Some fun.
Good. Okay, is that everything?
Yes.
All right.
Well, I'm making it everything.
Deputy Warden?
Since the last council meeting, I've been quite busy, but mainly the stuff I've been doing pertains to the UNSM. On November 28th to December 3rd, I went to Ottawa, attended a FCM board meeting, but we also had what they call advocacy days, and we went around to lobby the MPs, and I had an opportunity to meet with 6 MPs and 1 senator over a 2-day period. We also had a strategic planning session for the board, for the FCM board. That was an all-day session. And the last day was the board meeting itself. We look upon this as being like, a good little group. The board meeting with the FCM members, there's 78 members sitting at the table.
Oh my gosh.
78.
Hard to imagine.
You know what? I was sitting on one end, I could hardly see the names on the other end, and they had these big names on the, like in front of everybody. You could hardly read it. That's how long the big the room was. It's huge. But anyway, it was a learning experience.
I guess so.
Did they work well together?
I thought it went well. I also was put on 3 or 4 other committees that I also sit on also. And so you're sort of like the first part, you do your committee work, and then the final day when you have your board meeting, the committees all report to the whole board. It's the only way it would work. 'cause
Okay, yeah, I was wondering how something that unwieldy and huge would work.
Even the committee meetings are large. I mean, there's probably 20 to 25 people in each one. But it was interesting. I felt that it was very good. There was good messages. When we went around, one of the MPs we met was Scott Armstrong, and his message was, maybe you might want to have some shovel-ready projects ready, because there could potentially be another funding program coming out of Ottawa if things don't improve in Europe.
I heard that too.
They're trying to keep things going. Anyways, so out of that, after I got back, I just ended up having to stay in Halifax because I had to turn around and drive to Canso. I flew back into Halifax on the Saturday, turned around and went to Canso on Sunday morning to be a presenter at the UARB hearings for the dissolution of the town of Canso. And since that time, the UARB have come out with their notification stating that the town of Canso will be dissolved. It's going to be taking place in July. I will say though, I feel that the province stepped up to the plate and really helped out make this happen and really helped the community. Guysborough's not going to be burdened with taking over the town. I mean, there's going to be funds allowed for doing the infrastructure work. The town's taken over all the roads. There's quite a bit of money that was going up that way in regards to because of this changeover. And so I think the Guysborough and the Canso, it's going to work well for both of them. And actually, the town's going to have 2 councillors, like in the mesh, so they're going to have fair representation on that council. And then when I got back home, that was on the 5th. I got back on the 6th, and then I took part in a teleconference call with the FCM in regards to the municipal infrastructure program. They're getting ready for a new program for 2014. And actually, the Atlantic Caucus at the FCM also asked to have the wastewater separated out from the regular infrastructure program because of the new regulations that are coming down the pipes from the federal government. The burden on municipal units is so great that a lot of them are never going to be able to comply. You're looking at hundreds of millions of dollars for some of the larger centers, and they just don't have that kind of money. So I don't know what's going to take place there yet, but that was one of the reasons why they wanted to break it out, so that it didn't affect the regular municipal infrastructure programs, and it wasn't all just tied to water and wastewater. Then on the 15th of December, excuse me, had a town's task force meeting. That's going well. That was the second meeting that I attended, and there's going to be recommendations come forward at the spring workshop. And at that time, people will have an opportunity to discuss what's been proposed, and if they have any comments, they can make them at that time so that the committee can take them back. But also, there's going to be, I want to implement regional meetings around the province, and we're going to start those in the spring, and we're going to actually tie, the town's task force is actually going to be going out also. I guess some of these meetings may take place before the spring workshop, I'm not quite sure yet. But what was told to us at the conference is that a lot of people aren't happy with the caucus structure of our UNSM organization right now, and they've lost touch with the regional component. The AMA has kept the regional meeting structure, whereas the membership of the UNSM went to their caucus structure. And yeah, you go to your rural caucus meeting or your town caucus meeting, but you've lost touch somewhat with the people in your own area. So we're gonna implement regional meetings again, have like one a year, at least get it started that way. In some parts of the province, they still do the regional meetings. I know on the South Shore, they've implemented themselves and started them up. And I know from previous to the caucus structure, I enjoyed going to the regional meetings, having an opportunity to meet with other councillors that you would maybe not normally see. And you can talk to them and find out what their issues are, and we got common interest in our regions. And we've lost a little bit of touch of that, especially like if you go below Yarmouth and you talk to the people in Shelburne or Barrington. So, then on the 16th, I had a UNSM board meeting. That was my first meeting. That was interesting. It was a good meeting. Got a new board. There's a lot of new members on the board this year, and but everything went well. And got another one coming up next week. Minister Steele, I met with him on December the 22nd. I'd asked to have a meeting with him, which he originally I got turned down, but then when I asked him the question at the UNSM fall conference, he agreed to meet with me, and that was pertaining to the UARB costs that have been given to the PVSC. That to me is a direct download on municipalities, because municipalities pay the cost, the full cost of the operations of PVSC. And any cost that they have to pick up, we share a burden of that. And to me, I don't agree with this at all. And we met with Minister Steele. I kind of hoped that it would go better than it did. The money's not going to go away. They're still going to charge us. So we said, okay, if you're going to charge us, we only want to pay the actual cost, because what they want to throw at us is a 3-year rolling average cost. We've been bringing down our costs, and our appeals they've been doing a lot better work with the appeal process. So they're not using the URB as much. Like last year, they used them 700 and some hours. The 2 years previous to that, there was over 1,100 hours. And yet they want to bill with a 3-year rolling average, and then this year it's going to drop again. So anyway, we got a response back from them, and it wasn't a favorable one. So it's one of the things I'm going to be talking to the Premier about tomorrow, because I really, it's a principle to me more than the dollars. It's a principle. This is a direct download. So, and then on the 10th of January, I ended up going up to Cape Breton and meeting with Cape Breton Regional Municipalities Council. Did a presentation to them on the benefits of continuing to be a member of the UNSM. There was a issue paper that was put forward from their council. The way they do things up there, they'll ask staff to do an issue paper on a topic, and they did that and brought it forward, but we had asked to go present to them, and it went very, very well. The lady that put the motion forward for the issue paper the first time round, she had put a motion on the floor when we were there to leave the UNSM. She didn't get a seconder. So I was really impressed with the comments made by most of the councillors that were there. They were very supportive of the UNSM. They saw the benefits of being a part of it, and they know that if they go out on their own, you know, where are you going to get? It's not going to work. So that was a positive meeting with them. And then when I got back to Halifax on the 11th, I had my first meeting with Minister McTinnell as the president. We had a good meeting there. We talked about fiscal review and talked about the Municipal Attorney General's office that's going to get started. And we talked about, there again, I talked to him again about the UARB costs. And other than that, this past Saturday, I attended the Robbie Burns dinner in Cornwallis with the Deputy CAO attended as well. The Board of Trade put on a really nice event, and it was good. I enjoyed it. So they had, their guest speaker was our former Premier Rodney MacDonald. He's right now the CEO or CAO or whatever of the Gaelic College in Cape Breton. So anyways, it's
CEO.
Good. CEO. So that's it.
Alrighty. And me, on December the 1st, I attended the Digby Grand Search and Rescue Social
They honored Buddy Barr with that. They also honored several others. But Buddy Barr was one of the first to have started the Digby Ground Search and Rescue. I was to the tree lighting exchange on December the 2nd, and we did over 80 sets of lights that were exchanged. Was told that we had we did really well, more than what was expected to be done. So they were really pleased that we did it and hope that we do it again next year. I will say on December the 4th, in my absence, Councillor Adams attended the Christmas Daddies for me because I got called away to Halifax. I attended the Health Wellness Province Fund design of the Digby Primary Care Clinic, which the province donated $66,000, and that was done on December the 5th. And then Tideview had an award ceremony on that same day, which I attended, which gave awards to staff for 10, 20, 25 years. I did interviews at the town hall for the coordinator, living style coordinator for DARP. Then we attended I attended the Lieutenant Governor's Christmas party. I also attended the Seniors' Day for DARP on December the 15th. I was really pleased when people said, "Are you really old enough to be here?" That made my day. On December the 16th, I had breakfast with Santa, and I was a very good girl. Well, I told him I was. We also had, on December the 19th, I was invited by the town to Al Dupree's, where they have all the lights set up, and I got to sing carols. I nearly froze to death, but it was fun. We've had meetings with the Wharf Rally Committee, Linda and I, and those have been going very well. We had one in December and one in January. Then I attended the New Year's Day levy, which Councillor Adams and I hosted it, and it was an excellent turnout. It was nice to see some of the council come. It was nice to see our CAO and deputy come, some staff. And it was great to see just people coming, and I think it was a great first step. The other thing I attended was the Ocean Energy Environmental Research. We did a 2-hour meeting, which was good, on what's happening with tidal. Then I attended an effective goal setting and planning workshop, which is found very helpful. On January 11th, I met with Greg Kerr. On January the 12th was another Wharf Rally meeting. On January 17th, we met with the Minister McDonnell, with all council to discuss things pertinent for Digby. And we just had a Port Association meeting, and that takes us to council. So that's in a nutshell. Is there any other business anyone would like to bring up? Then I would request a 5-minute recess, and then we will go in camera.